we are back. Live action. If you haven't seen the F100, let me introduce it. This is a 62 F100 pickup. It was a short bed step side when I got it, and I ended up taking a long bed and shortening it down. I'm still working on the bed floor, so we don't have it on there yet, but it's got full air ride, a 302 with an AOD, 9-inch stock rear end, Mustang 2 front suspension, and a whole lot of custom paint that has been a straight thorn in my side. Here's the truck. We've got the stock wheels on it, a set of 670/15 white walls, BF Goodrich, 302 motor all detailed out with an old Hemi air breather that's been converted from oil bath to a filter unit. So coming around, we did satin black paint. Satin black paint, or satin paint in general, such a pain. It gets scratched, you can't touch it up. So my buddy Travis has taken on the job of trying to fix what the body shop didn't do when they painted it originally. The body shop's out of business now. They are defunct and somebody else owns it, so there's no going back for warranty work. The cab, when they taped off the back window and they shot the clear on the dash in there, it came through the back window and wrapped around and got on the back of the cab. Nothing you can do about that on satin paint. So what ended up happening was Travis reshot the whole back of the cab from the seam here all the way down. We had some other issues with the fender and the hood. The hood had a scratch on it. The fender had a small ding in it in the front nose of it, and instead of knocking it out or tapping it out, which was easily accessible actually, they just smeared it with Bondo. Well, it cracked and popped out. So Travis fixed that for me. I picked up the cab. I ended up just taking the cab over there to him. So I got the cab back and I dropped it back on the frame, and we're gonna try to move forward and show you guys some of these updates. But this is the truck, 62 F100, pretty much stock interior, except for the trans tunnel we had to add. It's got the steps. The steps went through 64, and big trucks carried them up to like 65 or 66. We did a monster C notch in there. So stock wheels again on the back with the 670/15 white walls. We had to do a little relieving of that cross member there for the drive shaft. All the valves are stuck down inside the frame rail. We've got those all running a 4-link type rear suspension with the airbags. You can see the bags there, and we're just trying to get it put together, man. This is going to be a killer shop truck. So flame the dash, had to do that. I've been wanting flames on something for quite a while, so I decided to go ahead and flame that dash while they were painting it. So I laid it out and then they shot it. So, and then I pinstriped all that, lettered all the engine parts. So anyway, let's get to the sound deadening. So a lot of guys on the ham were using this years back, and I decided to go check it out. When I bought this probably a couple of years ago when I started the project, because I was just buying all kinds of stuff that way. When I got to that point, I had this stuff and I didn't have to go get it. But when I bought this, it was around 16 bucks a roll. It'll take about 4 rolls to do a cab, and I'll do the roof, the floor, the back wall, and all the way up the firewall. So it's 6 inches wide, 25 feet long, so we're gonna have a lot of seams in there, but no big deal. This is considerably cheaper. 16 bucks a roll. I checked 1st of August 23. It was now up to $19.99 a roll, which is still inexpensive. But I did happen to find it for $6.99 a roll at a local place called Okie Mart here in town. They kind of buy, I guess, overstock type stuff, or it's kind of like a mini home Lowe's home improvement place, but they had the same exact stuff, different label, but it was exactly the same. Otherwise, same dimensions, same length for $6.99 a roll. So really, you could do this. You could do a whole cab, insulate it very well with this stuff for about 50 bucks, because you're going to need 4 rolls of this, and then you'll need some of the duct tape, like the aluminum foil duct tape they use on air conditioning stuff. We're going to use this today. We're going to knock this sucker out, so let's get it. All right, I'm just going to start by taking off a couple of items here. I've already seam sealed all my joints, and it's got a lot of overspray on it. I'm going to go ahead and remove this headlight switch, and there's a bolt there under where probably where the factory gas pedal was. Get that popped out. And I got a few footprints in here. Wipe them down. And I think I'll blow this out to get any kind of other little dust in here. Most of that's all picked up, but there's still a few pieces of dust I see that the vac didn't get. Alright guys, kind of like tiling a floor, I'm going to start right here in the middle. Actually, that's probably not going to work for my knees, because I kind of need to be in and out. Whoa, that was close. See, this stuff really is identical to like the really expensive Dynamat or Fat Mat type stuff. I've used Fat Mat and I've used Dynamat, and this stuff is almost right on the money, exactly the same. The only difference is the Dynamat or the Fat Mat's probably going to be a little thicker. But this stuff, I tell you what, I put it in my 60 F100, and it was, you can hear that right there on the roof. It's all tinny sounding, sound like a tin can. We'll check it again when I get done putting this on, and you'll go, whoa. Wipe my feet off before I crawl in here again after I wipe it down. Yeah, I probably still need that. This will be a lot easier. So all I've got is a razor blade and a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to start in the middle like tiling. So I'm just going to rough out that edge right there. Figure out exactly what I need. And then we'll cut it off. Roll that on up there. We'll just cut it off right there. That looks pretty good. Anything else we'll end up trimming. It's like 92 degrees today in the shop, so this is perfect for this. If you're doing this in the winter time, you're doing it inside a cab, I would suggest a little small space heater and a drop cloth. You can put a drop cloth right over the cab, let the little heater heat up the inside of this. The heat will just set inside. It won't go out because heat don't go to the floor, it rises. So the heat will stay in here. You can use a heat gun to warm this up and then lay it down. If it's only, this is if it's cold. Right now, it's 92 degrees in here. It's like probably 106 outside. So, actually it's probably not that hot yet, but it's supposed to be 106 today. So this stuff is plenty pliable and it'll stick and go right down. I did my 60 F100 in the winter time. It was cold outside, and I did exactly what I just said. I put a drop cloth down. Let's see, let's start right there. I'm just going to center that up on those right there. But I did it with that drop cloth and it worked perfect. And you're just gonna just like any other mat, you're gonna try to follow it as you go and lay it down. And then I've also got a little small roller here. It's broke, but it still works. It actually helps it because it's a little, it can move on that spindle. And I got a little bit, perfect. We've got a little body line here. And I've got this old clutch rod that's got a nice little hook on it, so I'm going to use that to go right down inside there. Just like that. That'll tamp that down. There we go. Roll that right in that corner. And I'm going to roll every bit of this. And I'll end up cutting that with my razor blade. Pull that off. This stuff started sticking good. That's good. Don't need that. Let's go ahead and roll this on. Down that edge there. Use that to get down on that edge. Yeah, that'll work. I'm gonna use it right there in that too. This stuff will stretch a little bit. So some of these like body lines, you'll have to force it down in there, and it will stretch. It'll stretch that tinfoil too. But it's you really want to get it all the way in there if you can. That's the main concern. It's just getting it laying flat, because if it's got a pocket of air on that metal, then it won't sound deaden it. It will just lay over the top of it. So get that done. You can use your fingers, you can use your roller, you can use another object if you need to, broom handle. I've used just about everything, because you want it to really stick, you want it to get down in there, and sometimes that roller ain't going to go in those little slots like that right there, or around that corner or edge, so let's get that pushed in there. Already getting quieter. So as we go, we'll just end up pushing it all the way down. We'll use the razor blade to cut any kind of edges we might need to fold down inside there, and it'll work out great. This stuff is so good. Pain in the butt to put on. Not terrible, but it's not like an awesome job. I actually, you know, the fat mat comes in a huge roll. I think it was like 36 or 40 inches wide, and I actually like this better because it's smaller and it's easier to put down. You don't have such a big piece trying to, you know, being cumbersome and trying to hold it and make it stick. It's when it gets bigger like that, it kind of becomes a two-man job. But this stuff, super simple. So yeah, that's going to be good. Good. It's looking awesome. We got one area here we have to trim. So we got another one of them seams, or a line there for the, I guess, just the floor, the way it was made. That I can get a little piece for that. That's no big deal. Make that thing a lot less noisy, but well, that didn't work. Oh, we're good. Oh, maybe not. May have to give me another one now. Oh, well, it's still rolling, so they see me rolling. We'll just keep using that sucker until it is done. Right. We got this side mostly done. We got one little patch here. Gonna put a strip up here. Probably actually do some wide strips so I can cut around that. Bring them over. There's gonna be kick panels in here, so most of that's gonna get covered. But it's looking pretty good. On to the second roll. Try to keep these little pieces just in case I got a hole to fill. Those are the ones I cut off, so I keep those kind of on standby just in case. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the firewall up here so I have this whole section done, and then I'll start on the bottom here and go over the console and then meet all that up. The hotter this stuff gets, the harder it is to cut, because then the backing becomes really super soft and then you can't cut it with scissors anymore. So I'm at a point now where in the shop it's so hot that this stuff I'm having to cut it with my razor blade and just nick it and then just drag it across it. I've done a pretty good bunch. I'm saving a bunch of these little small pieces just in case I gotta fill in some holes. So let's just keep going. We'll just keep knocking this out a little bit at a time, and we'll have it done. Then we're going to do the back firewall there, or the gas tank wall, back of the cab. The only bad part about this aluminum foil is when you lay your razor blade down, you can't tend to find it. It's hard to locate it. I think I left it on the table over there actually. Round 3. This is the third roll so far. I've done almost probably 3/4 of the floor here, and I still got the roof and the back of the cab, so may end up having to get another, probably one more roll, because that will take a full roll, I bet. But it's coming right along. And we're going all the way up the firewall, all the way to the pinch weld there on the firewall, so the firewall to the cowl area. But it's looking really good. It's coming together. This stuff is stuck good because it's hard to pull it up off there when you get it stuck down. Guys, here's the reason why you save all the pieces. This is the piece that came out of that step over there. It's going to go right here on the side of this transmission tunnel perfectly. So I'm going to reuse that. Not reuse it, but I'm not going to have to cut another piece off, which is good. And that stuff is sticky. There we go. See, everything sticks to everything when that stuff gets in there. Floor's done, and I'm moving towards the back. We'll get the back of the cab. I already started one, and I cut it about a 1/2 inch too short, or inch. But it'll be alright because the gas tank's going to be in there. So it's not going to slow me down. But I need to make sure I cut them the correct length, that's for sure.
I'm just making sure I'm not sticking this side. I'm just making sure this other side's going to butt right up to the other panel, the last panel I put on there. That way I know I don't end up with a seam in there. I end up with it right next to each other. And then it will find its home when it goes that way. So we'll roller that flat reveal right there. And that way when I push that down, it can't pull it. There we go. Roll it flat all the way down. We might have to do a little relief cut there. I got a little bit of a bend. I think it's from that reveal right there. How about that? Laid it flat. We're getting too many scraps now. Put it all the way into there. We've got it stuck down in there real good. Whew. We're going to run the gas tank in here still, so we've got the hole up there for the gas filler. And I've never had any problems with smelling gas. You put a new hose on it and you run your new line outside, seal up the inlet with a little bit of the I use the Blue Monster. It's like Teflon tape, but it's Blue Monster. It's made for oil and gas. Use a little bit of that around the fitting on the pickup. I've never had any issues. So now we'll come back this way, go over to there, and we'll cap that end off, and then we got to do the sealing. You guys better might think about setting aside a full day for this, because this is, especially like right now when it's hot, it's pretty brutal. This stuff right here out across there and that end down there, and then we'll move on to that. I figured out that I actually figured it up. I needed another roll because I don't think this one's going to do it. So I went to Okie Mart this morning and got one. See, it's $6.99 for that roll, and it's 6 inches by 25 foot, just like these were. I can't believe they're that cheap, but this is good sound deadening. That's rattling. That's rattling. That's rattling. But that's not. The only problem is going to be that it's going to be a long piece to have to deal with. So, yeah, there's some more plastic on here. Thing was really wrapped up good. Just a, oh, I see. This doesn't have the backing paper on it like that does. It's stuck to itself. No, it does have it. Okay, never mind. It does. It's just plastic though, instead of paper. So we're all good. Just gotta figure out how to get that off there. Oh yeah. It's pretty tacky too, so that's good. So let's just see if we can measure this. I'm gonna go all the way down to the drip rail in there. I'm just going to eyeball it here. And I'll cut off whatever I don't need. Pick up some of this stuff and get my knees on this pad. Tell you what, this will wear you out pretty quick. Being in here crunched up in this cab like this. So make sure you have, you will need a full day to do all this with the thin stuff. And I don't know, the bigger stuff may take a full day as well, but if you're going to do a pickup cab, this thin stuff is going to take up a full day. So be prepared. Let's see if we can make sure it's straight. There we go. Pull that off just a little bit. Get that lined up. There we go. And it looks like that'll work. We'll just keep going. We'll come back this way. Let's see. The whole thing off. This won't be too bad. Get that inside there, so pull that off. Notice when I set that down, I set it back on the backing. That way didn't have a problem with it sticking to anything. Okay, that is looking great. Okay. This one's a little harder because there's a little flange back there. You got to get it in there and then get it up. Whew. We're gonna get it though. All the way. Perfect. Shoot, dog. That's looking good. Okay. Roller that a little bit. Okay, we're gonna get that edge right there next to it. And we're gonna fold that back in on itself. Okay, there we go. Then we can just go a little bit at a time. Get all that. And we'll just do a little bit as we can there. Alright, this is the last of that roll. I've just got a couple couple of pieces here. I took the last piece and split it down the middle. Because I can't get in there to push any of that down, all I'm going to have to do is, all I need is enough just to go to that edge right there. So I'm just going to use that. I cut it down the middle so I had a straight line to work with. And I'll just stuff it up inside there loosely and then get it placed. Right up next to that. There we go. Okay, 2 more pieces, and it's on to the seam tape.
There you go. It's all done in there. You can see the got the sealing all done. Back of the cab, all the floor, all the way up into the firewall there. Okay.
On to the easier stuff. I got some 3M foil tape, also known as duct tape, D-U-C-T, for your air conditioner ducts. I'm using this on all the seams, so this should go a lot quicker than trying to put all that stuff down. Ugh, if I can get it open. Okay. And normally I like just the plain, but this one's got red writing on it. And we're just going to use the scissors and cut it up. I get it apart. This is really pretty straightforward. We're just going to start with this tape right here and pull it apart and lay it flat on every one of them seams. So we'll start right there, and pretty much you can just push this down with your hand. You don't have to have the roller, although the roller would flatten it out some more. So get this over here, figure out what we need there. Ooh, that thing's sticky on that one end. Golly. Okay, so we're just rolling it down. This stuff is just gonna go right over that seam, and that's gonna protect that seam from coming apart. And it's gonna seal up any of those little gaps in there, because we don't want any heat in here. This is gonna help a ton on the heat. And then once you get all this done, you put your carpet down. Your carpet has the thick jute on it, and it'll make it really nice in the cab. Alright guys, I may have underestimated the amount of duct tape I need. So far, this side and up the firewall has taken just a little over a full row. So I still have this side left, the back wall, and the roof. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to need one more. So I may just have to do the roof later, because it's going to take some long pieces. But I think I have enough to do this side and the back firewall for this video, and then I'll finish that up later without you guys. So sorry about that, but just so you know, so we've used almost 5 full rolls of the sound deadening, and we're going to end up using probably 4 rolls of this. Got a few more lines over here. Then we can start the back.
All right, we got her done. Got it all sealed up. All of it's taped. The only part I'm missing is the roof. I'm gonna have to get another roll of the duct tape for that. But it's all done. All the way to the edge. Looks awesome. Guys, I've got about 100 and maybe 20 bucks in this. Actually, I've got less than that because I got it when it was cheaper. But if you guys went to go get it right now, you'd spend about 120 bucks for the tape and for the sound deadening for a truck cab. So there you go, 120 bucks. It's a lot more solid sounding. It killed all the rattle. Looks awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. See you later.